Hello, this is SJ Voices and I am Sam Dixon. I want you to serve us. Yeah, you heard right. I want you to serve us. Surprised? That's what Ignatius of Loyola heard in the chapel of La Storta shortly before entering Rome. It's 1537. Ignatius and his companions are spread out in small groups throughout Italy. Their deepest desire was to be able to go to the Holy Land, to spend the rest of their lives there, to live and serve God in the same place that Jesus did. Unfortunately for Ignatius and his friends, the war with the Turks made the trip impossible. That's why they decided to wait for a year to see if the situation would improve. Otherwise, they would go to Rome and offer themselves to the Pope for any mission he might need. The next October came and the year of waiting was over, but the war with the Turks was still going on. It's time to enter Rome, but Ignatius first needs to stop for a moment to pray. And in a small chapel on the outskirts of Rome, Ignatius finally hears, "I want you to serve us." In his prayer, Ignatius sees Jesus carrying his cross, accepting him at his side. Since his conversion in Loyola, Ignatius had asked God for the grace to be placed with his son, and at last he felt heard. Suddenly, going or not going to the Holy Land was no longer important. It's not about living where Jesus lived, but about living with Jesus and like Jesus, poor and humble, following Jesus as he carries his cross to the last consequences. Ignatius had spent his life convinced that he had to do many things for God, and suddenly discovered that it was not so much about doing things for Jesus, but about giving himself to Jesus every day of his life. The path of Ignatius and his companions would never be the same again. From that moment on, they would have the certainty that their destiny was to be united with that of Jesus, who carries the cross. From then on, they knew that they would be companions of Jesus, and since then, we are the society of Jesus. Not because we have decided to follow him, but because he has seen our smallness and invites us to walk by his side, carrying his cross with him. Being put with Jesus is a lifelong path that you too can undertake. Dare to let yourself be looked at by him. Let it be his way, that of the poor and humble Jesus who transforms your life. Don't fill your life with plans to try to fulfill God's will. Just embrace God's will in everything you do. Stop spending your life trying to go to the Holy Land to find Jesus. Just let him put you by his side while he carries his cross.